Fat Wrecked was one of the most influential players in early RuneScape, but was ruthlessly bullied in his day-to-day life for his disabilities. This is the story of how he rose to YouTube fame, his death, and the tragic disappearance of his YouTube channel and its most popular videos. Fat Wrecked, also known as Ashley Dustin Miller, was born on September 5th, 1989 to Tony and Carrie Miller. The birth went well, but it was obvious pretty immediately that Ashley was going to have a tough life. He was born floppy, as Tony described him, which made the doctors think he had a mental disability. After running some tests, he was cleared of any mental issues, but was diagnosed with congenital myopathy, which meant he would be very weak and lack muscle tone. Regardless, the first few years of his life went pretty normally. He was popular among his classmates and did well in school. When he got his first game console, the SNES, his parents also discovered he was great at video games, and much to his older brother's dismay, would win just about every time they played together. As Ashley got older, more and more problems with his body became apparent. By 1999, he was diagnosed with scoliosis, and would wake up pretty much every morning still tired and fatigued. At the same time, the doctors discovered that the congenital myopathy that they noticed at birth was actually CAPS disease, a rare inflammatory disorder that would cause Ashley's muscles to be extremely weak, along with a host of other issues like episodes of inflammation, joint pain, and more fatigue. As other boys his age were getting stronger, Ashley was only getting weaker. In 2000, his entire class had a swimming lesson, and Ashley failed at it pretty miserably. This is when he started to realize that he was different from everybody else. As Ashley's conditions worsened, money became tighter and tighter for the Miller family, so Ashley started to miss out on a lot of important bonding experiences. Much like how American schools have field trips, Australian schools have camps. They're these outings that last for several days and are very important for social bonding and educational development. By now, Ashley's scoliosis had worsened so much that he had to have 2 metal rods placed in his back and was wheelchair-bound most of the time. Since both his parents worked and got little aid from the government, they were unable to send him to camps with his friends, and he had no choice but to stay home alone. This is when he'd start to lose friends, and by high school, he only had one friend left at his school. Although Ashley was popular in primary school, it was the exact opposite in high school. He was ruthlessly bullied, and despite numerous complaints from the Millers, the school did nothing to intervene. Luckily, he had his friend Jared there to protect him, but Jared would soon transfer schools. But before he did, he would introduce Ashley to something that would turn his life into a completely new, happy direction. But real quick, let's change your home decor with today's sponsor, Creator Crafted, which makes these beautiful RuneScape-inspired LED signs and mouse mats. Their LED signs are both stunning and easy to set up. They can be wall-mounted, or you can use the desktop stand it comes with, and they're even officially licensed by Jagex. My personal favorite is the white party hat, for obvious reasons, but there's plenty of other designs to choose from. This is the first restock they've done in months, and it likely won't be long until they're sold out again, especially if you're interested in a limited edition release like their Leagues 4 mouse mat. Creator Crafted's products would make a great gift for any RuneScape fan, and they're even running a holiday sale right now. Plus, if you click my link in the description or use code NELLO10 at checkout, you can even get an additional 10% off. Jared introduced Ashley to RuneScape, and after signing up with the username FatWrecked, he was instantly hooked. He had never played a game like RuneScape before. Ashley loved it because online he was treated like any other person. He didn't have to worry about being bullied for his appearance. Really, about the worst someone could call him was a noob. He would quickly start training his account, and by level 40 combat, decided that he wanted to buy membership. Around this time, he would introduce another friend to the game named James, who would sign up under the username InvGhost, and got him hooked as well. Although James is a boy in real life, he played as a female character for a pretty good reason. One day, he and Ashley were just messing around in-game and thought it would be funny to turn their characters into girls. Just a few minutes after they did, another player would walk up to James and ask him to be his girlfriend. They both burst out laughing, and James kept Ghost as a girl to remember that moment. He had met James in his first year of school, and although they no longer went to school together, they spent a lot of time playing video games in person together, and now online too. Much like with every other video game, Ashley was pretty good at RuneScape and would spend most of his free time on the game. He was super passionate about it, and it improved his mood dramatically. He was so passionate about it that in 2006, he opened a YouTube channel all about RuneScape. It turns out that not only did he have talent when it came to RuneScape, he also had some when it came to video making too. He'd upload skits and videos showing his character's progress, but what really blew his channel up was his RuneScape music videos. Like this Foo Fighters one that had 150,000 views in 2008 after being out for just 3 months. I have videos today that have been out for over a year and still don't have numbers like that. Now, all those views would later disappear for downright evil reasons we'll discuss later, but let's focus on the happy parts for now. My favorite videos that he put out weren't his skits or music videos, but just seeing him messing around in his player-owned house with his friends. To me, there is nothing more nostalgic than seeing a house full of players not focused on efficiency or gaining XP, but just having fun. Fat Wrecked loved rising the ranks and getting 99s. Before he passed, he had 13 of them, but he also loved just doing whatever was fun, like making music videos. And for those curious, Ghost was almost always right there with him. As Ashley's channel grew, he would make friends with other up-and-coming creators, and even give them advice on their channels. Some notable examples would be Ant Venom, TehNoobShow, and Groscore. He'd also make friends with famous players like Zezima and Skychi, and would be seen together in clan chats frequently. While Ashley's day-to-day life was kind of a living nightmare, he could forget about all of that and flourish online whenever he got home. If YouTube fame wasn't enough to prove that this guy was a rock star online, he would also reach rank 3 attack on the RuneScape high scores on February 2nd, 2008, and of course would host a massive party in his player-owned house to celebrate. Ashley's RuneScape career was heading straight for the moon, but unfortunately his health was not. In April of 2008, he would catch the flu. This had happened before, and some rest and medication would put him back to his normal self in no time, but this time was different. It got bad enough that he had to be hospitalized. He would lose a ton of weight, but doctors were able to clear the pneumonia and staph infection from his lungs that the flu had given him. He was feeling okay enough that the doctors allowed him to fight off the rest of the flu at home, but unfortunately he never got better and would stop breathing just a few days later and pass away on May 12th, 2008. But this would be far from the end of Ashley's story, in some amazing ways and other horribly cruel ways. The day after Ashley passed, his father Tony would ask Ghost to log into Ashley's YouTube channel and post a message informing his fans about his passing. Pretty much immediately, the news rumbled through the RuneScape community, and there was an outpouring of support on levels I have never seen before. The now famous players Ashley had helped grow would post tribute videos, fan forums would be flooded with messages and stories about Ashley, and just about everywhere you went in-game, someone was talking about him. Players would host funerals all over Gielinor, and even form trains that would circle the world map. His subscriber count would also double, more or less overnight, giving his channel one last massive push of views and support. But then, the rumors started. Much like when the Old Knight died almost exactly 2 years prior, many players believed that Ashley had just faked his death and was doing this all for attention. The rumors got so bad that Tony had to intervene. About 4 weeks after his passing, he would upload a video titled Proof of Fat Wreck's Death. In this video, he would show himself logging into Ashley's YouTube account, as well as a copy of the coroner's report. He then went outside to the front yard to show Ashley's grave, even brushing off the dirt from the box that holds his ashes to prove once and for all that his son was no longer alive.
We're going to use our two devils as mum and dad to protect him like we did when he was alive.
Now, unfortunately, this video would only bring further harassment to Tony and his family. He started getting comments like Ashley is a girl's name, and other much more awful variations of that I'd rather not read. So he uploaded a video titled Ashley is a boy's name, and went through a list of a ton of famous and inspirational male Ashleys. As time went on, the harassment would continue, but Tony decided to focus more on his son's legacy rather than what the haters were saying. He and his wife Carrie would print t-shirts that said Fat Wreck's mom and Fat Wreck's dad, and would wear them together on their next vacation. He'd upload videos of the funeral to his YouTube channel for Ashley's fans who couldn't be there, and even began writing a book about Ashley's life called One Puddle Too Many, which I'll link in the description below. He'd even get the chance to make a speech about his son to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but it seemed the blows would just keep coming. In February of 2012, the Fat Wreck YouTube channel would get hacked. Although Tony negotiated with the hacker and was able to get it back, it would be hacked again that same day. This time, getting it back wouldn't be so simple. The hacker wouldn't give it back this time, and Tony wasn't a tech whiz like his son. So Ant Venom and another player named RuneScape's stepped in to help, and 4 days later they were successful. However, unfortunately for Tony, a little under a year later the channel was hacked again. This time, the hacker was even trying to sell it, so Tony decided it was time to try and close the channel for good. He sent a letter to YouTube with proof that Ashley had died and that he was his father, and asked them to close the channel, to which they seemingly complied as it no longer exists today. Tony would then re-upload all the videos he could to his personal YouTube channel, as well as a few that Ashley never completed. It is extremely clear that Tony and Carrie loved their son very much and sacrificed a lot for him. I decided not to reach out to them while researching for this video, as I didn't want them to relive perhaps the most traumatic years of their lives. And thanks to Tony's book and videos, there's plenty of information about Ashley's life online, but they're both still out there to this day keeping his legacy alive. They even have tattoos of his RuneScape character, and use those same images on their bank cards. I don't think Ashley's story should be viewed as a tragedy, but as an example of how, even with the world and your own body against you, you can still live an amazing, successful, and happier life than many who are given much more time. So, on that note, rest in peace, Ashley Dustin Miller. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out Creator Crafted using my link below. They have so many awesome signs and mouse mats, and I'm certain you'll find one you like. And you absolutely want to get in on that holiday sale before it's over. Now, if you enjoyed this video, the one on the right about the old knight is one that I'm sure you'll love too.